Hello there, I hope everyone can hear me well. Let's put this there. We have a massive piece of media here. I think before we started the live stream, why not show you what's coming up next week, which some of you may have already seen. I'm finishing painting this guy up. Focus on me, there you go. I'm super pleased with this, by the way. One of the best red armors I've ever painted. And some quite sexy looking skirt there. I will be finishing him up tonight, and the video should be on Friday. Look at that. So, I think we should go back. There you go. So, I think we should start with this this bad boy here. I'm still in a bit of a doubt on how to paint the throne. I know how I wanted it to look, but I'm not sure how the best approach is going to be. But I think I might just go and do it. I might do a small test somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe there. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let's see how I like this. So, I'm going to start with this is so big. Leprechaun green, and I'm going to mix a bit of Mother Core black. I really like how this covers, so this will help me do maybe a cover in one layer, in one coat, or a couple at the most. So I'm going to put a bit there, and a teeny tiny bit of the black there, and let's see how this works. Hopefully this is not too dark. Okay. Yeah, this is a way too dark. That model color black is just so powerful. It's just overpowers everything you put it, you mix it with. So powerful. Yeah, I'm much happier with this tone here. Hope you can see that. Just not to ruin this brush, which is very nice. I'm just going to clean it before loading it with paint again and start painting it. Hello guys, I will try to be up with the chat, but I don't promise anything. Oh my god, this is ridiculously big. I'm going to start painting it now. A bit more water there. I always forget that the Vallejo paints don't come pretty thin as I have my Citadel paints. Yeah, that's more or less the color I wanted. Maybe maybe a bit too dark still. Maybe I want to add more green there. This is what you usually don't see, is me testing stuff until I'm happy. Also, this was a bit of a weird one, if I'm honest, because I'm not sure how I want to proceed with this. Let me see on this side. Is this on focus? Should be. Yeah, I like that much better. Yeah, I'm going to go with this. Hopefully I have enough for the whole throne. Let's fingers crossed there. You never know when you mix paints if it's going to be enough, especially with such a large model. By the way, base coat is mechanical standard grey, just that, mainly because that's the color that I wanted to paint these spinny things, floaty rings around, so that seems like a time-saving measure. Yeah, I'm really happy with that base coat, and I will probably do a very quick second one, just to yeah, much happier than the darker one. It's so hard to keep this in frame. Australia, this is 12:20 a.m. That's super. We are here at it is 20 past 4 here. You're from Scotland. Yes, I wanted not jade. I want to do like kind of obsidian look to the throne, which is a bit different. I want it more desaturated and darker. And I will paint jade the symbols here, these two snakes. This is going to be a pain in the ass. I hate painting large models so much. Oh, the things I have to do for the views. Luckily it's a very cool model, so I'm not complaining too much, but my god, this is going to be a pain in the ass. I caved in and bought this the other day, says Mark Atkinson. Yes, is such a cool model. Have you built it yet? I thought it was super fun to build. Very long process though, but very good fun. The only thing I'm going to be careful about is these rings, as I said, because those are already the color that I want them to be, so I prefer not to touch them if I can. The rest is I'm just going to go as quick as possible, just to save myself a bit of mental health here. It's moments like this where I really understand people that just get an airbrush to do the base coating and stuff like that, because this is a pain in the ass. Sorry if the framing is not perfect. This is too big, and this is not really very interesting, is it? Guess you are a bit disappointed. You're just going to see me base coat this for 2 hours. That's probably what it's going to be. I hopefully can do some edge highlighting, but I can't promise anything. For the most part, this is not going to be that important. If it has like perfect coverage, because especially here it's not really going to be seen. And the wash of Noon oil that I'm going to do is going to basically cover everything and darken it down so much that it's not going to be noticeable. Also, as this I want it to look like kind of obsidian. If it's not perfect, it's a bit patchy, it's okay. Stone is like that, so it will probably just serve the purpose of what I want to make. Now it's still in the box. I will be the one first things when I start my listen though. Need the temper guard to scout them. I wish you could get your hands on some of the old metal temple guard, just if you want to know what pain is. I distinctly remember painting those models to be a nightmare. And we didn't have like good plastic back then either, so yeah. I mean like the really old 5th edition ones. I'm not sure if there were another metal ones or they just jumped straight down to plastic. I kind of remember, maybe I'm wrong, I kind of remember of there being in between generation of the newer plastics, newer because they are not new really, but newer plastics and the first 5th edition ones. Whatever. Yeah, big model. It's quite big. I was expecting a bit smaller, if I'm honest, but I'm not disappointed. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful model. Now we start to get into the difficult bits. Come on. You just have to shove your brush into there. I'm going to clean it down. This poor brush is super nice brush, but it's probably going to get almost ruined with this. Such a shame. Yeah, paint is starting to get into there. I will try not to, but that poor old brush. Really nice brushes Broken Toad makes. I really prefer Rosemary and Co. Series 33, but these are fantastic as well. So another bunch of green there. I will try to a very small dot of black this time, just like that. If you really want them views, Hot Tub seems to be the thing on Twitch now. Yes, I saw that. I mean, oh, God's sake. Now it's too little, and now it will be too much. Wait for it. Is it going to be too much? I think so. Oh, more or less okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's basically impossible to get a good measure. There you go. I think I'm fairly happy with that. This seems to be. Oh, it's a bit too dark. Crap. I hate this. You see what I don't usually mix? I hate this. I really like the coverage of the model color black. That is so freaking strong. It's really impossible to get a good ratio just by eye. It's very powerful. There you go. I'm happy now. That's much better. Okay. Let's get on with it. Poor Broken Toad brush is going. It's hating me right now. I can tell you that. The Sergio Calvo, I'm afraid. Although I would like to claim that he follows me, I don't think. I know for sure he's not the Sergio Calvo. Not that I don't appreciate you, Sergio, but it would be awesome if the Sergio Calvo was here. As predicted, I can get into everything. I can reach every area, but it's not easy or pleasant. But it would be even worse if I painted this on sections and then had to hide the seams afterwards. That would be a pain in the ass. Thank you, Alejandro. It's really appreciated. Yeah, they really last. It says, oh sorry, Heather says that she has ordered a new set of rosemaries. They last for a long time, and they do last for a long time, and they're cheap, which is awesome. This is the best combination of long-lasting, very cheap for the quality you get. Of course, it's not cheap in the sense of Chinese synthetic lots of brushes, but they are very cheap. And they do last for a long time, so yes. It's models like this where you really start to understand people that base coat in black, but I knew if I base coat this in black I will be basically hating myself a bit afterwards, so I'm just going to go with it. I know I made the right choice, but it's just such a pain in the ass. And by the way, if you are asking yourself if I'm going to be complaining for the whole of the live stream, yeah, I probably will be complaining the whole live stream. I think I have this side. My kid is just demanding my wife. Awesome. She's an awesome kid. I don't know if you could hear him in the back shouting, but yeah. Okay. So no, we are making relatively good progress. I'm going to need a second layer, sadly. Sadly. But yeah, I already knew that. Let's try and get this guys there. I really wish they would have gone with a bit simpler sculpt, just because this is full of freaking things everywhere, getting in the way of everything. It's very cool, but it's just GW. I really like the old slant models. They look what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. My brain just farted there. I just lost track of what I wanted to say. Sorry. I will have to mix paint again. Crap. Well, I was going to need to mix paint again anyway to this for the second coat. My god, this soaks up paint. Oh. And you know what will happen. I know I'm going to finish this. I'm going to do the wash of Noon oil all over it. And then I'm going to realize that I have forgotten to do something. I know that. Oh, thank you, Crazy Horse. That's super generous. Thank you for joining the YouTube members. I really appreciate that. Be sure to check the link that I should have been sent to you. That's the access to the Discord server, and enjoy. The people there are amazing. I try to be there as much as possible too, which I do, but sadly lately job has been a nightmare, and I do what I can. But if you need to ask any questions, just add me and I will see it, or just send me a private message, which you can also do. Feel free. Thank you very much. Happy Father's Day. Yeah, it seems that today is Father's Day. Thank you very much. It's not here. Father's Day here was quite a bit ago. I always forget. You can tell that I don't give a crap about those things. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So before I mix more paint, I'm going to wait for this to dry fully. So I know I'm not going to go over dried paint, still wet paint, and make a mess. So that's the first coat there. I think that is good enough for the first coat. Yeah, I need to leave this to dry now. Again, this is a mix for those that are new. Mix of lupercal green and black from model color, matte black. Oh no, there's a bit there. I knew it. I knew it. There's a bit there on the armchair, on the arms of his chair. There you go. There's almost no paint left in the palette, so this is going to be tight. But the second layer should be enough. There you go. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay. I think for the most part we are done, or done enough. If there is anything left, I will blame it on myself a bit later on, but for the time being this is it. I need to leave this to dry fully before we can proceed. So let's see in the chat if there are more things. The sound of painting large models. Yeah, I really don't like it. Would you consider contrast paints to be improved washes? I mean, is there something that only shades can do, or do better the contrast paints? The thing with things like Nude Oil, things like that, is they are very convenient. You already have the paint mixed for you. If you use Black Templar or you use Basilicanum Grey, you really need to thin it down to get it to where this is. And some people don't mind that, but others do. And I think for large stuff, which you're going to use like a ton of this thing, it's more money efficient to use washes if you know you want the effect of the wash. For me, contrast paints, what they are is a sort of improved ink, sort of. I use them as I usually used inks in the past, so that's what they are for me. But really nice paints. Oh, see you, Chelsea. Thank you for joining in. What's your favorite GW sculpt? The Green Knight. That's easy one. Alariel took me 3 months. I saw the process. I saw the process. I know it was painful. I think what I will do while this dries, even if I later on want to do it a bit extra, is do a dry brush on the spinny things to save me some time. So I'm going to use. So we have Administratum Grey, and I have my Rosemary & Co. smooshing brushes, which are the same as the Artis Opus dry brushes, because Rosemary makes them for them, and these are basically copies. Well, the Artis Opus are basically a copy of that. Just they just change the color on the wood, and I think the hair is a bit different. I will admit that much. this is again administrator gray, and I am crap at dry brushing. I've tried to watch Artisopus videos and everything, but I'm absolutely awful. So if you want to shout at me, please feel free to do so. I can't touch that. I'm going to be fairly heavy on the dry brushing here. Just picking up the details basically, because I will later on wash this with Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to paint this as I paint all of the rocks in my Lizardman army. So that's the color I'm going for. I used Dumbstone instead of Mechanicus, but this is close enough. If you ever want to see something, someone doing a good dry brush work, this is not the channel to go to. I highly recommend you go and watch the Artisopus channel. That guy is great. He makes great videos, and they don't feel like too much of an ad. They are an advert for their brushes, of course, obviously, but they don't feel too much. They do feel quite honest, good videos. I really like them, by the way. Again, I'm absolutely awful at dry brushing, but that's not their fault. This is one of those techniques that doesn't really work for me. I just use it a couple of times a year when I'm painting something that want to look a bit more like stone. So, I mean, I want to say that this model is fairly stable. I'm a bit worried about that. So. I will, of course, after the wash with Agrax, which I will do all over this, I'm going to do an edge highlight. So this is not really that important. It's just to establish a bit of initial contrast. To have something to reference, so I don't have to die doing the edge highlighting too much. Thank you, Crazy Horse. I really appreciate that you. I'm really glad that you found my videos useful. I always try to make the best videos I can. I always say with my limited budget and knowledge, because I've been learning how to make videos while making videos, basically. So I knew absolutely nothing when I started of making videos or anything related to cameras, by the way. I learned everything I know while doing the videos. Yeah, what's this? TL Delaporte says Mother Color Black is the truth. One, it covers really well, but as with all carbon blacks, it does cover very well, but it's super fragile. If you put it on a rim of a base and then you just touch it, it will rub off. Like it 100% guaranteed it will rub off that rim. So that's basically the issue with all carbon blacks. Carbon black is a very fragile paint. It covers very well. It's super opaque, but it's very, very fragile. And sometimes it's too matte. Has like a weird sheen. It can appear sometimes. So it's not useful for everything. There is a reason why artists use different blacks for different things. That's why I use both Abaddon Black and this one, or the Chimera Black, which is basically the same. They are the same pigment. This and the Mother Color Black and the Chimera Black are the same pigment. It's just carbon black. But I also use Abaddon Black because it's a different black. It's a different pigment and it's useful for other stuff. It's a Mars Black, if I'm not mistaken, and it's extremely resilient. It's like extremely, extremely tough. So you can put it on the rim of the base and it won't rub off as easy. And it's also more transparent, which it's just one feature. It's just more transparent. Not every paint has to cover in one coat. There are paints that can just, that is useful that they are transparent, and Abaddon Black is one of them. If you want to go, do glazes with black, I would always use Abaddon Black because it makes my life easier. But yeah, it also has a different sheen. Not all blacks are just black, they have different tonality. But you can, as I say in my videos, you can use them interchangeably, really. There you go. I think I'm happy with that. That should be enough. Dry brush in there. I'm going to clean the brush because I'm finished. Yeah, thank you, Heather. She always says that I made her paint again, and she's really thankful. And I really appreciate that, Heather. It really means a lot to me. So, dry brushing over. I knew I had other brushes around here. I thought I had my other brushes on here, and maybe they aren't. Whatever. The paint on the throne is not dry yet, so I'm going to start with the wash over this floaty things with Agrax F3, so I don't lose more time, because that's going to take an eternity to dry. Watercolors one coat blacks may go for my rim bases. I haven't tried it yet. The problem with watercolors is you can only find them in their own shop, and you have to ship them. And I only maybe want to try one or two paints. I forgot to dry brush those two. Well, I will leave them for later. I'm not going to go back. So now just Agrax Earthshade over all this. This is a classic. You shouldn't have any issues with this. I will probably go section by section of these broken rings, just to make sure it doesn't go all over the place. Because if you really go heavy, it can start drooping down the model, and you can end up with a mess. There you go. Absorbing the excess, as with all things wash or contrast paints. Making sure everything is covered, it's not pulling too much in any place, and you should be golden. There you go. As that looks alright to me. So on to the next section of rings. There you go. That dry brush is a smooshing brush from Rosemary & Co. It's just called that. There is no series, it's just a smooshing brush. Which I'm sure that is something that is related to canvas painting in some way, but I don't do canvas painting, so I have no idea what that brush is used for, but that's how it's sold on their website. So if you go there, you have a link to the website on the description, which is an affiliate link, of course, and if you click there and you do a purchase, you will help me in the process, and that's very helpful. Or if you want to just get the Artist Opus brushes, you have a link to the Elemental games as well, which they sell, and they will also give me a cut. So thank you very much if you do. It's really appreciated. Not usually boasting around too much with this kind of a YouTuber crap, but the money is always welcome and very, very useful to upgrade my kit, buy new camera stuff and microphones and all of that, which is ridiculously expensive, as anyone that has done anything related to cameras knows very well, sadly. There you go, that's good enough. I think we have the second ring pretty much done. They look good to me. See, I forgot a bit there, but that is easily solvable. I never delete live streams. So if Pumpkin Puncher. So if you have to go away, feel free to do so and come back and watch the video then. No issues with that. I never delete live streams. I don't think that serves any purpose, at least not for me. So again, as I said, if you just want to, you have to go. I go back later, and I guarantee you that it will be there. The issue with this model, with the Kroak model, is too big for me to do a video on it. It's just a pain in the ass. But I still wanted to paint them and show it to you, so I thought a live stream would be the best idea, because, well, I was going to paint it anyway, so why not? Again, this is not going to be like a display level painting, at least not for my standard, but this is for my army. So this will be like, this is how I paint armies, basically. So you will never get a better chance at seeing how I paint, how I approach army painting than this video. It's literally just for my army. I really apologize for this weird angle, but you sometimes have to do what you have to do with these kinds of models. We're done with that ring. Let's make the big one. Woo! I can hear my wife making cookies in the background. That's also really good to have some nice cookies. I maybe pause the stream for a bit once they're baked to have a couple of cookies. That sounds awesome. Are you planning to paint the new IDF crab in the future? I will paint some IDF, and I will probably try and get the Underworlds box to do this so, because that's what I always do. I find them the best way to get a sample of models from each faction. They are always beautiful sculpts, super dynamic. So I will get that box, but I'm not sure if I'm going to paint the crab. I will probably just paint one of the boring guys. I get why the crab is funny and all, but that's not for me. I'm more of a lizard kind of person. The only crab I like is one that's on my plate. Delicious, delicious crabs. Yeah, that looks good to me. Focus on me. There you go. I hope the camera is not playing tricks on me. It's very hard to manage all this. As always, going back to check any poolings. It's not that big of a deal with such a large area, but better to be safe. You have to share them. If I get some cookies, you will see them. Trust me. Mark Atkinson, I forgot I was supposed to send you some Skaven. Don't worry. As you can see, I have so much models queued up to paint. It's really, thank you very much. And I really appreciate you if you do. But I'm served of models to paint. Don't you worry, I'm not going to run out of models. Or videos, ideas. I have so much stuff in the works and planned that I wasn't even pissed that GW didn't send me one of the Dominion boxes, because then I will have to make some videos. But it's a bit frustrating when you send them emails and they don't reply back. That's a bit, I already said this in the Discord server, so it does sound like I'm a bit. I say I'm not pissed or bothered, but then I keep saying this, so maybe I am a bit. Maybe it's more the feeling of being left out, of feeling left out when you see all the channels in the world getting one and they don't even answer your emails. So yeah, maybe it's more that than the fact that I didn't get the box, which I don't care about, by the way. It's very nice models. I would like to get some Cruel Boys for some videos, because I already have Stormcast video and it's probably more than enough for the time being. But yeah, I can surely get one on eBay, or a couple of models on eBay once the boxes ship. And I don't mind paying like exorbitant prices for them compared to what they really are worth inside the box, because, well, I don't care. I just want one model set. I can just pay for it, whatever it is, and be done with it. Oh, so many rocks. Yeah. Good thing is, the base coat on the chair is dried now, so once I'm done with this wash, I will move on to that. But I want to finish the wash first. Go. There you go, seems about right a bit there. Just one ring left. I forgot to do the dry brush on those two, so I will have those will have to wait a bit. Bit more agrax. Your crustacean is yeah, anything that is not Bretonnian, elves, or lizardmen, I really don't like very much. I'm not going to lie. I'm a very simple kind of guy. Elves, everything I like. Everything about them is awesome. Even Idoneth, I really like them. GW really knows how to make very interesting looking elves. Of course, high elves will always be the absolute peak, but you can't be always peaking. You have to make some lower tier stuff, like wood elves. One, would you recommend Chimera paints? They are awesome paints. Like, not even kidding, they are fantastic paints. Really, really, really nice. I always had this kind of discussion with people. Are they better than others? No, I honestly don't believe any brand is better than any other brand. So that being said, they are very nice paints, and it's a fantastic tool to have. Single pigment paints. It's very useful because you know exactly what they are, you know how they will behave, and you know you can mix them without any worries. And it's also, again, a very nice tool to have to know what pigment is in your paints, which you don't get with GW or with Vallejo or with other manufacturers. So it's a very different approach to the rest of the manufacturers, and I really like it. Having a bit of an art background, I really understand why that is important, and I really like it. And apart from that, they are very nice paints. They really are fantastically good paints. They behave very well. They thin down very well. The medium is excellent. So yes, I highly recommend them if you can afford them, and if you can find them, which is not that easy. I highly recommend them. Yes. But if you ask me the same about Vallejo or about any other brands, I will probably say the same. Yes, they are fantastic, and get them if you can. That seems like a nice start. We have the rings base coated, so that's more or less how I want them to be. I might do another coat of agrax, like creating some gradients in between in the rings themselves. But that, if I do that, it's going to be later on. I think it's time now to do a second base coat on the throne itself. Markinson, I honestly wonder if it's because you make their videos with contrast paints look awful. Now, I don't know what that is. If I have to guess, maybe I would say because I always say in my live streams that I don't play GW games and I don't even bother with those because life is too short to bother with their rules. It was probably a very good guess of why they don't send me anything. Or in the first Kroak livestream, I just yeeted a round base and proceeded to say that Kings of War is just awesome all during the whole live stream. So that may be a good explanation why they don't like me very much. But I don't really care, if I'm honest. I'm not going to start playing or lying when someone asks me what games I play just because I want a box of minis. I don't care. So I don't play AOS, I don't play for Warhammer 40k, and I don't care about their games anymore. I did for a while, a very long time ago, and I don't anymore. I just can't be bothered. They really don't know. Well, let me rephrase that. They do know how to make rules very well, but the final objective of those rules is not having a good game experience, but selling more models. So that's the end game of what they do, because they are a model company above all. Above everything else, they are a model company. So the thing that they want the most is selling models. So they will do whatever they can to sell more models, and that's very understandable. And one of those things that they do is making the rules in order to sell more models. And that's 100% understandable. I'm not criticizing them. This is not a critique, it's just an observation. There's nothing wrong with that. In their position, I would do exactly the same, because that's business. I mean, you need... That's just business. What it is. But I personally can't deal with those kind of rules anymore. I'm just tired. So I play Kings of War and I play Dead Zone, and I'm a very happy gamer. Those two games fill exactly every single desire of my gamer heart. And that I'm more than enough for me. I still think GW makes the best models in the world. So that's the thing. If that's worth anything, GW, I really like your models. You can send me some. I will paint them. Don't be mad at me for not liking your games. There's nothing wrong. It has nothing to do with Warhammer Fantasy, by the way. Warhammer Fantasy was a horrible game. I've opened my eyes on this a very long time ago. Warhammer Fantasy was a horrendously bad game. There's a very... I know Mark Arkinson is not going to agree with me, but there's a very good reason why they just destroyed the whole setting altogether. It's just... They had nowhere to go. That's just the truth. And I know it's sad. I love the setting. It was a fantastic place to be, but it wasn't original. It was more of the same. It was just Tolkien with a bit more years over it. You know. So it had to go, and the whole game system had to go because it was absolutely horrid. Sorry, Mark. I know you like fantasy a lot, but I really don't. Not after playing Kings of War. I just couldn't stand it. I tried to play fantasy again, and I just couldn't stand it. That's the sad truth. Is I couldn't stand the game that I loved so much over the years. I just can't. Philip Bidmar, you really deserved one box from them after all the soldiers you made in the Contra City. You showed advanced level using them. I'm really surprised they missed you. They don't even answer my email. Well, they do answer my emails, I have to be fair with them. But it's not a real response. It's just one of those pre-made emails that say they're going to forward this message to the right department. But it can't guarantee. But with the high demand that they have, they can't guarantee I will get an answer, and I have never gotten an answer. I think I've sent them in total 4 or 5 emails, but after a while I just stopped sending them emails because what's the point? So I just stopped. And I just thought, if they want to send me a box, they know where I am. Several of the Warhammer TV guys and several of the Warhammer of the heavy metal team follows me on Instagram and on Twitter. So if they want to send me something, they know how to find me. And I just stopped begging, because what's the point? Azure Master Race, yes. You should do some Daughter Snake gears in non-box art colors. The main issue is, if I paint them, they're going to be in the box art colors, because that's what people see in the box, and that's what people want to see how to paint. There are, of course, people that want to see other color schemes, but the truth is that number of people that want to see alternative color schemes are so small compared to the people that want to make, they want to see the official one, that it just makes no sense to make them. Sorry, but I will make some snake. I will paint some Daughters of Cain snake ladies, because I really like the models, and I plan to. I'm probably going to buy the Underworlds box if I can find it, or get some second-hand snake ladies, or maybe a friend that has them. I know a couple of people that do lots of Cain. I may be able to get just one and just paint one, because they are really cool models, but, you know. I'm sure you have had to hear that. Yeah, my kid likes to scream a lot. Not complaining, he is awesome. He's the best person in the world. But he really likes to scream. I think that should be enough. I think that should be enough for first layer. For not the first layer, for our final base coat layer on the green. I think that should be enough. And I think I've decided how I want to approach painting it, but you will have to wait till this is dry. There you go. There you go. Final base coat layer. That needs to dry. Atemi is asking why I put this into a square base. He's asking it in Spanish, but I will answer first in English. This is for Kings of War. I only play Kings of War, but I will answer him in Spanish because I don't think he knows English. So, Atemi, no juego ni a novena ni a fantasy, es para Kings of War. Ese es el juego que juego. Y son penas cuadradas, y por eso está en la pena cuadrada. Gracias. Adrian cares, yeah, I think it's not right. If anyone deserves you, hell, you use GW Paints more than any other YouTubers I've seen. Yeah, that is probably true. That is probably true. I would say that Duncan uses more, but that's not true actually. He uses a lot of Army Painter paints because, of course, they sponsored him in some way. I know that because I also got that offer from Army Painter to use their paints in videos, but I'm not interested. Mainly because I know not everyone can get Army Painter paints. It's not that easy. So I just stick to paints that I know everyone can get, and that's GW. That's universal. That's why I use them in my videos, and also because genuinely they are my favorite range of paints. So it's a win-win, really. There you go. That seems about right. I see a spot there that wasn't base coated. Well, oh, so hard to get my brush in there. There. I think they should fix that. Problem is I now don't want to mess. There you go. I gotcha. Flesh Eater Cuts tutorials when? I don't know. Okay, I have planned videos for all the factions on both games, 40k and Age of Sigmar. So if there is a faction there, there will be a video at some point. When? I have no idea. You can ask all you want, but the truth is I have no idea when that will be. Honestly, honest to God, I have no idea. So at some point there will be a video. When? No idea. Sorry, I'm going to try to pronounce your name, but I'm going to fail. Zweval. Have you tried the Star Wars Legion? Any thoughts? No, I haven't. I really like Star Wars as a setting. I think it's fantastic. I'm a nerd. Of course, I like Star Wars. But for some reason, the game just speaks nothing to me. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I know a couple of friends that do play and they really like it. But what can I say? I just don't find it interesting to me. The Crusty Toad is coming at some point. We are starting with the throne because that's the order I want to, and I still have to think how I want to approach this guy here. But I will paint him. I don't know how much time I will be here. We are about an hour in, and I have a couple of base coats done. So that's me in a nutshell. There you go. Super hard to keep this in focus and in frame. Yeah, the Army Painter, Terence was saying, the Army Painter offered me free stuff too, but I declined. I also declined because, of course, they offer to send you stuff, but of course you have to make videos with them, and I just have no interest. So, if they just send me the paints without any compromise, I may have said yes, just because why wouldn't I get more paints, and then I will probably use them in some of these live streams for sure, but as it is, they haven't. They offered me the paints, but in exchange of using them on videos, and I said no. I also got an offer. This was an Army Painter, so there's two different things. This was just a regular hobby shop that offered me to send me one of the smaller Army Painter kits in exchange of making 4 videos for them, and I said, fuck off. I'm not going to make 4 videos for a 40 or 50 euro paint set. You can fuck off. That's not worth that. That's just not worth it. TL Delapour, have you tried Tesseract Glow? It's really impressive. I have. If you watch my my Necron painting video, I use Tesseract Glow there. It's fantastic paint. It's the kind of in between a wash and a fluorescent paint. It's a bit fluorescent, but not too much. It's not just like straight up fluorescent pigments, have other stuff mixed in. It's a really fantastic mix. It's a really good paint to have. I really liked it, yes. So I'm going to paint these 2 guys that I forgot to dry brush. So I'm just going to dry brush them. Simple as that. This is the medium size smooshing brush, and you can see there is kind of a correlation. I know the bristles are a different color than the. And this is the less secure bit of the model. You can see how it wobbles. So I'm going to be very careful with those. At some point I even thought about just cutting this whole thing off, because they just wobble too much for me. But I decided not to in the end. Yeah, seems about right. So let's do the dry brush here. Yeah, who's that? Adrian cares. I feel the same about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Yeah, for some reason, I really love Lord of the Rings. Movies are some of my favorite movies ever. But the game just doesn't speak to me. Don't know why, but it just doesn't speak to me. And I can't really explain why. Happened the same with the Star Wars, the ship game, the Armada, and the what's it called? X-Wing? X-Wing. It's just, for some reason, I just don't like them. I don't know why. I tried X-Wing. A friend of mine was a prolific game player of X-Wing, like tournament hardcore player. And at some point, like a lot of people, he just left it because it was a mess. You could clearly tell that it was just basically a money grab, even more than GW. I know a lot of people complain about GW, but trust me here, Fantasy Flight Games, oh my god. I prefer not to play anything they make, just to be sure. He has just we have talked about the X-Wing community a lot with him, and he just told me that they basically just bombed their own game out of existence or out of relevance. Maybe I'm not sure if the game still stands. Happy to help. ¿Has visto las minis de Artisan Guild? No debes de pintar alguna. Ernesto is asking if I have seen the Artisan Guild minis and if I not want to paint any. I will answer in English first, just to be just out of decor to my main of my audience. I have seen them, no interest whatsoever. People are really surprised in this, but I'm only really interested in painting GW minis. That's the style I like. And answering in Spanish. Gracias por la pregunta, Ernesto. Las he visto. No son una pasada, pero la verdad es que solo me interesa pintar minis de Games Workshop. Es lo que me gusta. Me encantan los ejércitos, me encanta la ambientación, y Artisan Guild no me dice nada. Minis estilo display no suelo pintar. Solo pinto minis que puedo usar en juegos o que básicamente lo que me gusta. Pero gracias por la pregunta una vez más. Alright, I see he understood the English answer very well, but I still felt like it was appropriate to answer in Spanish nonetheless, because that's how he asked the question. I feel like that's appropriate. So, stay with the dry brushing of the Administratum Grey over the Mechanicum Standard Grey spray. That seems like about right. So definitely finish with dry brushing. So I'm going to clean my second brush. Very well, or as well as I can. I leave this in my pot brushes, and I'm going to shade this with Acrorax as I've been done with the rest of the stone. Heather is asking, are your wife and kid bilingual too? My kid is 4 years old, so he is basically he's not even one lingual yet, not fully yet. So yeah, he does speak English. He knows numbers. We've been and the colors and that sort of stuff, and he's more or less can say like words, because I try to train him with English. So, and when we are doing English, like not lessons but English practice, he does speak everything in English. He says yes, no, very well, and that sort of stuff. So I'm really happy. I'm really proud of him. But my wife, sadly, she knows more English than she thinks. She just has that mental barrier that is sometimes very hard to break of speaking. It's not easy sometimes for some people that hasn't had the same luck as I did to go to England a lot when I was a kid, basically, which I was fortunate enough for my parents to be able to afford it, and not everyone has had that. So this kind of a mental barrier, kind of fear of speaking a language that you don't think you're proficient on, even if, trust me, she knows more than she thinks. But it's hard, and I understand it. So no, sadly, if she were to stay in England, I know she will probably get the hang of it in about a year max, and she will be like not native, but for all intents and purposes native, because she really understands very well. It's just breaking that speaking barrier. There you go. Done. So that was painful. Now we really need to wait for this to dry. Yeah, I didn't realize he was so young. He is really young. Yeah, I'm already reading and writing French. French. I know a couple of words. I knew more when I was there. I wasn't in France. I was in Switzerland, in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. So I kind of got some French because I had to, basically. But once you leave there is no reason just to keep it. So you end up basically forgetting everything you used to know. I'm really happy with how this is going. I wish that thing would just dry. It's a pain in the ass to waiting for it to dry. I think I'm going to do like a very subtle highlight using Lupercal green straight out of the bottle. I'm basically going to apply this Lupercal green. What you can, and then feather it out. What you can do to help you out is you can wet the area you're going to apply it to, so it doesn't dry as quickly, and then just apply the Lupercal green, which you can see is very transparent. That's why I mix it with the black, and then just feather it out. Lupercal green, despite being the base paint, is fairly transparent, which is something sometimes, I mean, GW naming convention for the paints is hit and miss. Some are alright, others are just like, why would you call that a base paint? It really isn't. But whatever. They're just names. But it kind of it can get frustrating for some people that are starting. So just for the sake of them, I will probably do it the other way. This is going to be very rough, and again I'm going to do a wash of Nuno oil over this. So I'm not like super concerned about how this looks. I just want to establish like a kind of basic gradient. If I were more proficient with wet blending, I would wet blend this, but I'm awful at wet blending, so I'm not even going to try it. But you see people like I'm horrible with names. What's with my brain and names that I always forget? I see people like Sorastro, which makes like super smooth wet blends to start his paint jobs, and then looks amazing when he just does a wash all over them. Or you see some Lens, and he does the most amazing wet blends to establish the initial basics. And I wish I could, and I just can't. It's just absolutely awful with it. There you go. So I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm just establishing some initial points of light. You can do this dry brushing as well, but I want a bit more control than what I can get myself with dry brushing. So just painting in the top sections of each panel. There you go. Yeah. GW names are mental. Sometimes looking at you, Killian Green. Yeah, I honestly think a Killian Green is a mislabel, but they just at some point they just had to. It was a mistake at some point, and they just had to roll with it because well, it was already labeled like. But I truly believe a Killian Green and Turtle Turquoise are interchanged. That's my conspiracy theory there. I really believe those two paints are the names are changed because Turtle Turquoise is more green, is more green, and a Killian Green is more blue, so more turquoise. And I really think that is a mistake, but who knows what the truth is. You can see the base paint is a bit wet here, so I'm just going to take advantage of that. I'm not going to wait for all of that to dry. And I will do probably several layers of this feathering, so I get a lighter tone. And again, this is not going to be everywhere, but it's going to be in the main sections of light, so that will help me get my highlights on point when I start doing them. So again, applying it there, brushing the pot of water, and then just feather out like that. If you're having trouble with your paints drying, just do a layer of just water over the area, and that will slow the drying process, and you will be able to feather it out easier. You won't see a masterful video on doing that. Watch Ben Comet's latest video on painting the halfling tank, in which he does that. That's how I got that idea, and it's fantastic. I'm going to use it when I want to be like more precise. There you go. So as you can see, I'm starting to establish some basic gradients on the green on the obsidian throne. I'm really pleased with that, by the way. Main reason, as I said, is just to get something more interesting for the wash to shade. Kind of inspired in the work of Surastro, basically, here. I really love his videos. The man makes some fantastic painting videos. He's one of the main inspirations for me to start making videos, so if you're really thankful that I am making videos and want someone to say thank you to Surastro, the man just makes the best painting videos I've seen. So good. Video production is fantastic. The music is stunning, which he composes himself because he's a very good musician, and he composes his own video music. The man just makes just such a delight to watch. And he just paints everything, like every system in the world. He makes videos for it. So I'm sure if you like Star Wars games, you already know his videos, of course, which are probably the best Star Wars Legion painting videos on the whole YouTube. You can see in some parts I'm not even bothering with the feathering, because Lupicar Green is so transparent and the base coat is so dark and so similar to it that I'm not even going to bother. I'm just applying it, and you can see when this dries, Lupicar Green is almost identical, but I didn't want to make Lupicar Green as my base because I will be here. I will probably have to do like 3 or 4 or 5 coats of this for it to grab, and I just can't be bothered. But in these spots where there's just very sharp corners, and a lot of binds, I'm not even going to bother with the feathering. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it here. Where there's a flatter area, I will feather it out. There you go. Temi is asking, can you use GW models to play Kings of War? Do they match with every Kings of War models the way I'm a girl? Oh, yes, you can use Kings of War, any manufacturer models when playing Kings of War. In fact, you can even use them, and this is relevant to the hysteria in the social media about GW forbidding 3D printed models and 3D printed parts in their tournament, which was always the case, by the way. This is not news, but it's relevant to Kings of War because in Kings of War you can use any mini you want from any manufacturer. There's no limits, and you can even use them in official tournaments. Even if you go to the Mantic headquarters and you want to use your 3D printed army, you can. No one is going to say anything about it, and probably they are going to probably commend you for the if it's something very original and very cool looking. They're probably going to say you, that's awesome, that's great, and they're probably going to commend you. The only restriction, of course, is if you use non-Mantic models for your army, and if you are playing an official Mantic tournament. So this has to be like something like basically playing in Warhammer World, or playing in a Games Workshop a sponsored tournament at Adepticon, something like that. If you do that, then you can't win best army. So the best looking army, you are not going to be able to win that prize, and thus you will not be able to win the overall. But you can win best general. You can just win like the just gaming part of the tournament, no problem. But you will never be able to win the best overall, the best of the tournament, the best of the show, the overall prize, because you will have 0 points in your paint score, because that's not a Mantic army. But you will be able to play, and they will be very happy to have you there. That's why Kings of War, it's amazing. It's for things like that that makes the Kings of War community and the Kings of War game just so nice to play. It's just a delight. It's the best community you will ever experience. Everyone is super friendly, everyone is awesome. You will see super regional armies because the Kings of War per se is model agnostic. You can use whatever you want. And also in the internet, I'm a true believer that in the internet there are no genders at all. So it's awesome. But I will just say that same as said to Heather and to Chelsea, which are part of my Patreons, it's amazing to see more female presence and more diverse presences in our hobby. I'm for one, I'm extremely welcome to the LGTB community in the hobby. I think it's fantastic to see those people playing and sharing the love for what I also love, which is models and painting and playing. There you go. You can see I'm starting with the second coat on the that establishing the base coats and the base gradients for the throne. That's the second layer, and with the second layer you can already see that we are having a very nice gradient there, very subtle, very nice. Yeah. What about Lizard's riding crabs? You know what the best part about Kings of War is? You could have an army of lizards riding crabs if you can find the minis to build it. I've seen such crazy things done with Kings of War armies over the years. I have seen people make an army composed solely of Legos, of minions. Of course, some people don't like that, and there has been rules about this lately because they are not miniatures. But the truth is, there is one guy that has a minion army composed only of minion minis, but he also has the equivalent army painted using normal models. So he usually brings both to the tournaments, and previously to the battle ask the opponent if he is okay with him using the minion army or if he prefers the regular boring army. And some people choose one, some people choose the other, but he has both because he is amazing, and that's the kind of community you will find. So he knows that some people get pissed with that, so he, instead of just complaining, he chooses the good thing to do, which is having two armies basically. One that is a proper traditional army, and one that is just minions, and that's just great. If you ask me, that's just fantastic. Again, even to the risk of ostracize me even more from GW, try Kings of War. If you like rank and flank style games, try Kings of War. It's such a good game. It also has a fantastic community, but that's not the most important bit. Well, it is the most important bit. Well, what am I saying? It's the best gaming community I've ever experienced. Yes, it's very important. GW community lately is borderline unbearable. Maybe it's just social media. Well, maybe not. I know it's just social media, but GW community and so on Facebook especially is just unbearable lately. My god. The only thing they do is just complain about every single thing that the GW makes. No matter if it's, they used to complain about, whatever, them not updating rules, not posting FAQs, which they never did when I was playing. There's something new, and now it's time they update the rules. They correct mistakes. Oh, the rules are not valid anymore. I have to buy whatever. I mean, you don't know how it was in Dark Ages when something that everyone knew was an errata and it didn't get corrected for 3 editions. Like they wouldn't even answer your emails or questions. They just wouldn't give a shit. Yeah, GW now is much better as a company than what it was when I was playing their games. That's for sure. Any idea why the best model makers and painters are all Spanish these days? Because Spain has an amazing tradition of miniature painting. Like, it's crazy. You probably haven't seen it because, of course, this is just, you need to be inside of this like very niche hobby. But Spain has an amazing tradition of miniature painting. And model making, by the way, as well. We are very, there's a very old tradition as well. And yes, some of the best painters in the world are all Spanish. Most of them, I would say, like a higher percentage of Spanish painters are in the winning tournaments and so on group. There was even at some point in time, there was even a Spanish team. It was very famous, which. If I, from the top of my head, I'm going to miss a lot of names, so please don't get offended if you don't name me. Not that any of them are watching, but Sergio Calvo was in it. Angel Giraldez, of course, was in it, and every single a master painter from Spain that you can name was probably in the Spanish team at some point, and they would just go around painting competitions, winning everything basically. So sounds like a Star Wars fan base. Yeah, I mean, my god, the GW fan base can be toxic sometimes. It's like crazy toxic. I love the games and I love the lore and I love everything, but the communities can be borderline awful sometimes. I know it's just the internet echoing just the bad voices. I know it's that, but still, it's like, oh my god. Barely unbearable. Barely bearable, sorry. I remember when you only got new minis every 4 or 5 months. Yeah, every 4 or 5 months if you were lucky, and a new book every 6 or 7 years if you were lucky. I remember Bretonian and Tomb Kings weren't lucky, and I think they got a book in 6th edition and never again. That was it. That was their book for 6th, for 7th, and for 8th edition. And then you wonder why people just don't buy your minis. You know? Fantasy was a total mess, and I say this with great regret, but it was a total mess. So I think I'm done with the base coating. We have a very subtle gradient from the darker tone to a lighter tone. I think that's going to look awesome once I do the wash of Noon Oil, but I need for this to dry. And I don't want to start highlighting everything before I do the Noon Oil, because I'm running the risk of absolutely destroying my work if I do. So I think we will just have to wait for a bit for this to dry fully. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to start base coating these 2 snakes here. Steel Titan. Tom Kings was the first book in 8th edition. Sorry, I was made a mistake. Brazilian didn't get 1 after 6. Beastman Skaven didn't have book after 7. Yeah. I'm going to be controversial, but I like getting the rule book and having it valid for 3+ years. Now it's almost breakneck fast with the new rules. To be valid, the rule book is the last AOS. How much years it's been? 3-4 years? It's not that different. The problem is they're just adding new rules. I'm going to look for the pen and then I'm going to talk, because I can't do both at the same time. There you go. You're going to hear some sexy Vortex makes sounds, so sorry. I haven't used this paint in a long time. This is a Caliban green, so it's completely settled, so I have to. So my main issue. There you go. My main issue is that they started AOS and 9th edition 140k saying that it's going to be simpler, easier to follow, you know, all those things, and then they basically just make the most complex game they could, because the rules are very simple. That is true, but then each army has 1,000 different special rules that you need to look for in 4 different books, and it's just the same all over again. It's just, instead of having, remember 7th edition 40k, all the special rules were in the book, so there were like a ton of special rules, and every faction got their rules from there. Like they just basically chose whatever rules they wanted from that pile, like that master list of rules. And people said that the game was too complex, too many rules, too difficult to follow. So what they did is the same, but all those rules are now in different war scrolls or different instead of all in one place. So for me, that's just worse. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I really like the other system. That's what Kings of War has. It's a set of master rules, and all the armies has the same special rules and have to use the same special rules, and it works fantastically. Some people say Kings of War feels like boring, like plain, and that's just because you haven't played enough. It's plain and simple. The game is excruciatingly complex in terms of strategy, that is. Where did you get that Vortex Shaker online? Yes, online. This is I cannot show it to you because the lead is not long enough, but it's the 4-E's scientific vortex mixer. I got it from Amazon because I prefer to buy from Amazon than to AliExpress, because if something goes wrong, I know I can send it back through Amazon and they won't say anything. But if I save a couple of quid and euros and I order it from AliExpress, first of all, it's going to take a month to arrive, and secondly, when it arrives and if it doesn't work, good luck sending it back. No, I just prefer to deal with Amazon. Amazon is awful in many ways, but not in the customer experience, that's for sure. I promise to try Kings of War soon. We're going to try Warhammer Armies Project as well, which is fan made 9th edition. Big fan of what I've read so far. Yeah, when I went back into playing games, we basically did that. I got 9th edition, 8th edition, so like 9th Age, sorry, 8th edition and Kings of War, and we tried them all. And I distinctly remember the games of both 9th edition and 9th Age, and 8th edition to be the most frustrating experiences in my life, because of course I haven't played the game since, I don't know, 15 years at that point, or 12 years, so I have forgotten absolutely everything. And I remember it was half of the game, yeah, no, not even close. 90% of the game was us just moving through rulebook pages, and the other 10% was us playing both 9th Age and 8th edition. And we played Kings of War last, and I remember the experience as revealing. I remember we had our rulebooks there, we looked through it, but once we got like the basic sequence and the basic rules figured out, which took 5 minutes, I remember we had to look at the book 3 times during the whole game, and that was it. Fantastic experience, such a good game, so well designed, everything flows super well, and it's just fantastically well written. All the rules are very precisely written. There is no second interpretation possible. Everything is tested and to the extreme, so they are sure that they are not. Every word is intentional, so you know that if you read something, it's there. There is no in the Kings of War community. There are no discussions about rules as interpreted and rules as written. That just doesn't happen. The rules committee works very hard and is very determined to that don't be a thing. So that it just isn't a thing. Rules are just what they are, and they are intentional. For better or for worse, because some people hate some of the things that you can do with the rules, but they are all intentional. The rules committee has said that those things are all very intentional and not an accident. Hey, I'm a Gears of War player. Hey, welcome Brian Ring. Great gentleman community. It is a fantastic community. No, I don't think it's just you. It's pretty bad when you need a core rulebook, an army book, general's handbook, another spell book. That's the issue. It's just too many books. Does Mantic use? Mantic uses 3 different materials. Mantic uses regular plastic, like GW, which they're using more and more. Mantic also uses PVC, which they used to call Restic back in the day, which is that horrible plastic you are talking about. And some models are still like that, sadly. And there's just nothing you can do. You need to know what you are buying, basically. Because one is there is a certain wording in the web page which will tell you which one is it, but one is plastic and the other is, I don't know, hard plastic or styrene plastic or something like that, which is the good one, by the way. Except for Brian Ring, he is awful. How do you use other models in Kings of War? Sounds very interesting, but the part is confusing. You just use whatever models you want. So you play in Undead, you just use whatever models you want. The units are very simple: zombies, skeletons. I've seen people using, for example, samurais as elves because they kind of fit that elite style of gameplay, so they just use a samurai. So once you get to your opponent, you hand your army list. That is always done in Kings of War. There's no like secret army. Well, there is a gameplay that uses secret army list, but that's different. But for the main game, you hand your army list, and then you go with your opponent with this unit is this unit is that, this unit that. And if your opponent has any doubts during the game, he will just ask, can you please remind me what unit that was? And you say that is whatever, and he says, and he goes to the army and says, oh yeah, thank you very much. And that's it. Kings of War is a very gentleman community. If you ask for something, they will always answer. There is no secret magic items. Everything is displayed. So if there is a certain unit has a certain magic item, that will always be there for you to see. There are no surprises, basically. So if whatever, for example, they have rules for all the GW armies. They made a book specifically for those armies. But even without that book, I could probably, even if there wasn't a salamander army, I could use my salamander, for example, as a forces of nature army, and it will fit perfectly. You just need to use a bit of your imagination of which unit can be what. For example, I could use skinks as naiads. I can use Sauros as salamanders, which is what they are. I could use Croxicors as fire elementals, for example, and all of that. And it doesn't matter because the models are not important. So because you will go through with your opponent and go in and answering all any doubts if he has any. So yeah. Oh, so Bart and Brian are both from the US side of Kings of War. So yeah. Glad to see you here, guys. I'm really nice surprise. Yeah, Charles Hamilton says, I painted a bunch of 100 Years Wars minis for Kings of War. The Bretonian army is still available in third. The old Bretonian army, which was called the Brotherhood, has been split in 2 different armies now. So you have Order of the Lady, and you have I forgot the other name. Order of the Brotherhood? No, there is. Oh, well, there is 2. One is like more peasant oriented, and one is more knight oriented. But I will highly recommend you use those as just Kingdom of Men, which fit everything. That's what I would use personally. Oh, hey, Gomethala, glad to see you here. Are we ever going to see you paint some Malifaux? I highly doubt. I really like the models, but I just can't be bothered. I already sort of answered that question before. I just like to paint GW models, sorry. So I highly doubt we will ever see some Malifaux. I just prefer to be honest about that. I like to paint. I like painting GW models, and that's basically it. Yeah, Brother Mark. That's it. Yeah, Monster has the Brother Mark and the Order of the Green Lady. Those are two different. So one is more knight-oriented, and the other is more like peasant questing type army, which is. This they want to have a Brother Mark army, and a Salamander army, and an Undead army. That's my 3 Kings of War armies. Yeah, that's what everyone says. Everyone says I can play both, and then they try Kings of War, and it's just kind of pointless. The rest, we're honest. I think Funk a bit more confrontation means that's the only one I had. I don't have anything else from confrontation. I sold every other mini. This is almost dry. It's painfully slow drying. Have a bit there and see if I can spread this out and move it out of the way. The rest is pretty much everything dry. A bit down there, which is still to dry. That's a good question. While this dries, that's a fantastic question. Other great YouTube painters recommended you. Please to be here. Oh, that's awesome. I'm really curious to know which one that was. just to send a message and say thank you. That's really amazing. I really like your job on the hair on the non-inquisitor in one of your previous streams. Is there a chance you will cover different hair colors? I have blonde and I have that redhead. This is basically the same recipe, but one more highlight. So go check the blonde color. The rest is just a bit plain. I have, painting brown hair. Does that really need to be there? So I made the ones that I thought were more interesting. Is the magic super random and swinging Kings of War? That's one of the things I love. No, it just isn't. Magic spells are just one more ranged weapon that you can use, and they behave just like ranged weapons does. So no, the magic is not swingy. It's just one more shooting attack, which can fail and can hit, but that's basically it. I know it sounds dull, but it just makes the game. Kings of War it's all about being predictable, knowing what your army can do and knowing what your enemy army can do, and planning ahead and building your strategy. Is a very strategic game in that sense. It's not random. Well, it is random because you are using dice, but it's not random in the sense of Warhammer Fantasy. It's very predictable. Everything should be known. You can pre-measure everything, and you will be pre-measuring everything, because if you don't, you will get your ass kicked like really hard, because the other guy, if he knows how to play Kings of War, he will be pre-measuring all the time. Everything will be planned, so he knows exactly what your options are once your turn reaches, because he will be prepared for it. And that's kind of the feeling with Kings of War. It's all about planning. So you will in your turn you will lay out your plan or your traps, your baits, and then you will know what your enemy options are, and he will take the option that is best for you. And the player that wins is usually the player that has been able to basically play with the other, so make the other player play his game instead of their own. So that's basically it. Yes. Oh, Squidmart has recommended me. That's awesome. That's like extremely surprised. So I'm really thankful about that. I will pop a message. He's a very nice guy. I had a couple of I have a couple of conversations with him over Facebook and over messages over Messenger. He's a super nice guy. He seems like a very nice person. I wish I had his views. I will just say that I'm extremely jealous. I'm not going to lie, but apart from plain jealousy, he does seem like a nice guy. I really wish I had his views. I'm not sure if the price is worth though, but because I know you get a lot of shit when your views get that high, but my god, I wish I could have his numbers. Yes, you can pre-measure in 8, yeah, and here you will be pre-measuring angles, because angles are very important in Gears of War. It's more like, think about it more like kind of a chess, where you know exactly what every unit can do precisely, and you will have to be thinking about that before you move and while you're moving, and you will have to prepare for that. It's a very different game, but once you get the hang of it and the feel for it, it's a fantastic game. I'm honestly God, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Yeah, personally, I didn't like that part of Warhammer Fantasy. It kind of felt very frustrating to me, but to each their own. That's the best thing about this hobby is we can do whatever we want, and it's okay. So this is now dry, and we finally can wash it. And I'm going to use just Noon oil to wash the main throne. So I'm just going to throw Noon oil all over this. I'm of course going to go section by section as I've been doing, but I just basically want to do this down, shade all the recesses, and have this nice and dark. I hope you can see this. It's really hard to frame this model in the camera. I will leave. If you have more questions about Gears of War, I will answer them through the Discord. I'm more than happy to do so. But for now, I will leave the two American experts guide you through. If those guys play in the Masters, they know what they're doing, basically. So if you have any doubt, I'm sure they will be more than glad to answer this again. As I always say, the Gears of War community is just the best community there is. Honestly, you just can't get any better. The first time I attended the Gears of War tournament, I was so surprised, like amazing compared to what GW tournaments were. Oh my god. I'm not going back. Even if I like the game, even if I still like the game, I'm not ever going back to that shit. I just can't stand it. Gears of War, the community is so much better. Okay, so shading this is a pain in the ass, as I was predicting. So many nooks and crannies, so many... So hard to get good sections here. Everything is crossed with vines. Not that it really matters, because we are going to... This is going to be fairly dark once this dries, so it's not like it's going to be super important. This is a bit splotchy. And again, it will probably just serve as well. Oh, see you, Charles. Thank you for watching. Sorry if I'm a bit silent now. I'm super concentrated in not having this pulled where I put my highlights. It's a very tense moment. No, so excuse me if I'm not speaking. But yes, Mark, Kings of War is a different game. It never tried to be Warhammer Fantasy. That's basically the main point here when discussing Kings of War. All the people that are not interested in Kings of War must be saying, "What is? Why is they are talking all the time about Kings of War?" Oh my god! I will have to check the views if they drop when we start talking about Kings of War. Kind of feels like we are kind of a cult talking about the Kings of War. Such a good game, though. So I'm trying not to miss anything because I don't want to go back and with the shade once everything is painted. And I'm really not looking forward to the edge highlighting step at all, but I know it's coming. I will probably start with the throne, so if this haven't dried by the time I'm finishing the live stream, I'm really sorry you haven't been able to see anything more exciting than the guy just applying a couple of base coats and a wash. But that's probably going to be about it. We have 2 hours in, I'm tired, it's hot in here, and I probably will have and grab a cookie. About sub-assemblies of this, I think smaller sub-assemblies can be done, but I think they're going to be much more of a problem. At least for me, from how I paint, how do I approach model painting, I think this is going to be more problematic for me, so I didn't do it. But I know it can be done, I know other people did it, but I just... To me, this is the ideal way to paint it, which is not ideal in any way, shape or form. But that's... yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? This is a humongous model cram full of details. So many things in the way. My god. I really like the look of the model, but I really wish also that GW hadn't bothered with all these floating rings around him. I was tempted at some point to just remove all the rings and just do like a regular looking slant. But I mean, felt like a waste in a way, so I didn't. Oh, still more areas to shade. Come on, finish already. It's one of those things that you're kind of tempted, like doing like a dip wash, like making a pool of Noon oil, just dripping the whole freaking thing into it. I'm on sub-assemblies, I'm the kind of person that likes to have as much build as possible, as long as it doesn't make it impossible to reach with the brush, just because I just can't be bothered to building it afterwards. That sounds about right. This is about right. That's coated. That's... I need to catch this here. Okay, this now seems to be coated. Let's go to there. Oh, massive pool in there. It's already starting to dry, so I'm not going to touch it. And it's not going to be really that much of an issue. I have something to cover here. There you go. With such a dark color, so if it pulls too much, doesn't really matter. That's it. It's already fairly dark, so it's alright. Okay, that seems to be... Oh no, more here. It's never-ending story of Noon oil. I keep finding places where I missed. Oh, pain in the ass. Poor brush. Look at it. Oh my god, I'm destroying this poor thing. Feels bad. Such a good brush. Feels bad. Doesn't feel right. I think we're done. I think this is now shaded. Ever considered a hair dryer? I have, and I hate it. Especially when you're doing shades, it moves the shade around to places where you don't want it, or creates poolings where you weren't expecting it. I hate it. I don't like it. I prefer just to leave this to dry on its own and do its own thing. I know a lot of people use a dry brush with a dryer with a good success, but I don't like it. I've tried it and hated it. The results were not good. I had a horrible coffee staining and pulling. I like to let paint do its own thing. For me, models I do airbrush replacing. I don't own an airbrush, but I'm considering it just for this kind of things because this is a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's the clever thing to do. A bit more here. That's what you should be doing, is just do it using an airbrush for these steps. But I don't own one, so whatever. I'm going to do another base coat of Caliban green on the snakes on the top, and probably call this a day. I know this has been a shit stream. I know you were here to see some amazing painting and you have seen some base coating, but you know how these models are. I will be making more of this. I will keep painting him on live streams because why not? Seems get some good views. We had a new member, which I really appreciated, and that's also extremely helpful. Thank you very much. And again, don't forget to join the Discord server. You should have the link in your welcome message. By the way, I now figured I could add that to my welcome message on Patreon as well, which has made my life so much easier. There you go. Second coat of Caliban green on that. Hidalgo has painted this like with a very blue jade kind of color. I'm going to go berry green instead of berry blue because the throne already has a bluish tone to it. So I'm going to go more green, more like a cross between emerald and jade. But jade is fairly green, if we're honest. So yeah, just jade. Well, there are a lot of varieties of jade. So I'm not not going to take out my book on gemology, but yeah, jade can be very green. So I'm going to paint it very green, indeed. There you go. Caliban green applied. I think that will be enough. This will also be jade, the front frog here. So once that I will wait to shade them all at the same time, and that means I probably need to let all of this to dry. I wish I could paint some highlights for you. Well, maybe I can. Let's see if I can paint some highlights for you. No, sometimes dries with a weird sheen. I will probably have to varnish this once this all dries, because Nun oil can dry with a very weird sheen on your models. Oh, thank you very much, Anthony. Yeah, I'm starting to do them. I find them very relaxing and very fun thing to do. So yeah, I actually I plan on keep making them. I don't plan to stop at all. I'm going to try the first highlight color. This will be a mix of Sons of Horus with Lupercar 1-on-1. So 2 drops of each, because it's a large model. Oh crap, I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, so 3 drops of each because I made a mistake. But yeah, this will be a lot, but there's a lot of model to highlight. Yeah, that seems like a good highlight color, mix in between, not too light. And once this is done, I will probably move into Sons of Horus green, pure Sons of Horus green. And then I will probably do a mix of Sons of Horus green and some light gray, probably fluent gray. Or maybe I will do something different, something with a bit warmer, and do something like deck tan, which sounds interesting. So probably we'll try that. Why not? So this part seems dry. It's such a pain in the ass to have this on frame. My god. I'm still with the same number 2 Broken Toad big brush with a razor sharp tip, by the way. This is my favorite of the whole set of brushes from Broken Toad. And I'm just going to go and edge highlight every single freaking thing here. Yeah, it went a bit too thick with the paint. As you can see, some of the detail, well, you can see quite well on camera. It's not as easy on the eye here. Maybe it's just the wash. Oil sometimes dries weird. The angle of the light and so on. But once I apply a varnish, it will look fine. Oh, that was crap. I'm going to take forever here. Oh my god, this is going to be a pain. This is going to be a pain. And doing it on camera is not helping, by the way. He's human just like us. Yes, I am not anything special, trust me. And also the hatred I have when painting this kind of models. I kind of think it shows. It shows through the pain and suffering. Well, it's easier when I don't talk. There you go. You can more or less see the highlight, quite faint. I'll probably do another one. Where is my number 3? There you go. Film brush. Now, you can only get rid of the gloss when it's like gloss. This is not gloss. This is just satin. If you think this is gloss, then you need to reevaluate your thought process. This is not by any chance gloss. This is satin, and you can't get rid of this. The only thing you can do is just varnish, which I'm probably going to do. I'm going to probably use a mix of satin and ultra matte, just because I don't want that too matte. This is now a Sons of Horus green. There you go. I moved that at some point. This is Sons of Horus green, now pure, and I will just keep on highlighting this. I'm just going to show you this because I feel bad before I do anything else. Before I go, I want to show you a bit of there you go, much better now. I really like this brush a lot. The number 3 from Rosemary, my favorite brushes. Go. You more or less can see that coming through. That was more or less about the color that I wanted to make, and then I will grab some Sons of Horus and I will, let's see. I found it. I finally found it. I grabbed a couple of Vallejo colors just to mix it up a bit. We have Deck 10 here and highlight Russian Tank Crew 1. Super close. I'm going to use the Deck 10. And I'm going to do again 1 drop of each, and I'm going to mix an intermediate color. I'm now thinking I would probably should have used instead of Noon Oil, I could have just mixed a bit of Black Templar with contrast medium, and it will have a better finish. But again, it kind of feels like a bit of a waste. I know it, but it kind of does. Can you see this? Will you focus on me? Here. Will you focus? Oh, okay. I hope you can see that well. This is the 1-to-1 of Sons of Horus with Deck 10, which I really like, by the way. There's a mix I'm going to remember. There you go. There you go. That's starting to look the way I like it. So yes, I'm 100% going to use this colors to highlight the Hall of the Throne, which I will probably do on camera next week. As you can see, I'm just picking the edges that face upwards. What I will probably do, now that I see how this looks, is skip the mix of Sons of Horus with Lupercal and just go straight to Sons of Horus and then move into this. That sounds like a plan to me. And if I feel, for example, there, oh crap, you focus on me. There you go. See, it's a bit stuck there. You can get a bit of the previous highlight. This is Sons of Horus, and just press a dot there in between both colors, and they just blend perfectly. And I will probably use that. This sounds like a good highlighting plan. Looks good to me. Looks cool. Starts to look like what I'm picturing in my head, so I'm happy. And that bit of a warmer highlight color with the deck tan, that was a great idea. Really pleased with that. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So I think we're going to leave it here. Sounds like a good time to leave it. I will keep on painting this during live stream. So probably next weekend you can rejoin me and see me struggle a bit more with edge highlights. It's going to be a pain in the ass, but if you want to see me suffer, that seems like a good place to go. So guys, thank you very much. I think I'm catch up with the chat, so thank you for watching, and I really hope it wasn't too tedious or too boring, but it doesn't seem like it. Sounds like a good number of people watching. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.